With a population of more than 1.4 billion, China has a high energy requirement. The demand for energy has increased at a rate of 2 times annually over the past 10 years as a result of China's rapid expansion in a variety of industries. At present, China uses 40% more energy than the US. However, China still has to burn a lot of coal to produce power, which further demonstrates the nation's ongoing pollution issues, particularly in Beijing, which suffers from severe urban haze. China used to be the global leader in greenhouse gas emissions. After the new crown pandemic started, the virus was thought to have come from China, according to the US. China has been under a lot of external pressure. China has been urged by other nations to adopt reforms to better safeguard the environment. China set a global objective for 2020, the strategy to achieve carbon neutrality in China by 2060. China's environmental pollution has significantly decreased as of late. Even overseas media reported, the United States has now been surpassed by Chinese new energy. The world may alter thanks to China's new energy. What new energy initiatives does China currently have? How did China outperform the US in terms of new energy? China is using renewable energy, like do many other nations, to reduce its excessive carbon dioxide emissions. Why do you think it's crucial for us all that China develops new energy? China started concentrating on the creation of wind and solar projects after it fully grasped the severity of its energy issues. The sector as a whole has benefited from China's investment in renewable energy by lowering costs, which has led to a record number of new wind and solar installations worldwide. Let's now examine how energy projects are progressing in China. Solar power was first. The solar power plant in China has astounded everyone. Not only can it produce electricity, but it can also manage desert regrowth and even cultivate food. The first nation in the world to make such an advancement in solar energy projects is China. It is possible to describe it as a miracle. The north, west, and east of China are where the majority of its photovoltaic power facilities are located. The conversion of solar energy into electric energy can be achieved by photovoltaic technology, and the entire process will essentially not produce toxic and dangerous gases or waste residues. And the desert is where most solar energy is found. With a total installed capacity of 13 billion watts, China has the largest solar power generation capacity in the world. In China, there are a lot of solar power plants with a particularly enormous scale. In the huge Hangar Desert, the power plant constructed on the plateau, for instance, has a total of 4 million solar panels and an installed capacity of 850 megawatts. The world's largest solar farm, with a capacity of more than 1,500 megawatts, was also constructed in China. Solar panels can be used to manage the desert while also developing solar energy installations there. Under solar panels, herdsmen produce grass to raise cattle and sheep while also cultivating medicinal plants, potatoes, and rice. In the past, it was difficult or impossible for people to cultivate plants in the desert for food. However, China already has. The world's most effective solar energy project is this one. Then there is tidal energy. The simplest energy source is tidal energy. Tidal energy is an endless source of clean, renewable energy that is unaffected by floods or dry water, does not require fuel, and produces no pollutants. The sea area in China is incredibly extensive, and the ocean's tides contain enormous energy. China has constructed tidal power plants in a number of maritime regions and even pioneered technology by developing undersea high-speed rail that is powered by tidal energy generators. Even American engineers appreciate this. The first tidal power plant was constructed in Germany in 1913, and France also possesses the biggest tidal power plant in the world. Only China, though, has successfully used tidal energy for undersea high-speed rail projects. Lastly, nuclear power. China has built the majority of its nuclear power stations in coastal areas. Nuclear energy is a highly common sort of low-carbon energy that can help China restructure its energy sector. Data indicate that in 1991, China constructed a new nuclear power plant, ushering in a new era for the country's nuclear industry. China created a long one in 2015, and ever since then, their nuclear power technology has taken the lead globally. There are 32 nations using nuclear energy to produce power at the moment, and one of them is China. Despite its comparatively late start, China's nuclear power development has steadily advanced from 0 to 1. and eventually created a cutting-edge, high-level industrial chain. It has already been recognized as having some of the best technological capabilities and overall strength in the world. Nuclear energy may now be utilized to heat processes like desalinating saltwater and creating synthetic fuels, in addition to producing electricity. Wind farms are being erected in coastal regions because of the enormous range of applications for wind energy, much like nuclear power plants. The first wind farm in China was constructed on the mainland in Shandong Province in 1986. Another wind farm with a 10,000 kilowatt installed capacity was created by China in Xinjiang in 1994. The current wind turbines in China operate on the same concept as the windmills of yore. They merely use the laws of physics to transform the kinetic energy of windmill rotation into electricity. China has the largest wind energy development in the West, with an area that is more than 600 square kilometers greater than Singapore. Additionally, more than half of the world's electric vehicles are made in China. The Chinese business-wide, a leader in the field of new energy vehicles, has eclipsed the American company Tesla. For 4 years running, it has been the sales leader in the globe for new energy vehicles. Because they require gasoline energy, formerly popular cars like Mercedes-Benz and Toyota are no longer as popular as they once were. New energy cars are currently the best route for China to make a breakthrough in the automobile sector in the future. Additionally, it has been claimed that China has tried flammable ice in the South China Sea with success. The South China Sea combustible ice mined this time may have been the most challenging to mine in the entire world, according to the report. Additionally, China is the first nation to test flammable ice, and its mining technology is quite advanced. With oil supplies controlled by the United States, it is known that 100 liters of combustible ice is all that is required to make an automobile go 50,000 kilometers. China must develop new, manageable energy sources as soon as possible. This time, the test mining of flammable ice was successful, demonstrating China's achievement in ending the U.S. energy monopoly. China's combustible ice will have a significant impact on the U.S.-dominated energy market as long as it can be employed extensively. The idea of low-carbon environmental protection has gained widespread acceptance in recent years, and new energy has emerged as a vital source of energy for humans. So what is the state of the global energy market right now? What about the growth of the energy sector in other nations? Russia following the conflict with Ukraine. Russia was subject to sanctions from some nations. This had a severe effect on the overall energy market, leading to a significant imbalance between global energy supply and demand, which in turn caused a spike in prices that persisted at a high level during this time. The EU has spent several billions of dollars less on natural gas during the Russia-Ukraine war as a result of increased electricity generation from new energy sources. According to statistics, 24% of the EU's energy demand was met by new energy sources from March to September of this year, which is the greatest percentage in the previous 6 months. The energy structure in Europe is changing as a result of a number of different influences working together. Energy shortages now only exist temporarily. The sources of energy imported by the EU. When supply and demand are no longer in balance, the EU has little choice but to import more energy from other nations. Long-term, the EU has increased investment in new energy fields to hasten the energy transition due to the energy crisis. China missed the first 2 years of the global energy revolution, but this time the country is leading the charge. Clearly, the new energy sector will drive future industrial growth. After all, the environmental issues facing the world are quite significant. Thus, one of the crucial industries for putting China's sustainable development agenda into practice is the new energy sector. Share your opinion in comments. Also, click on this video to watch about another shocking project.